Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Masters English video series. For those of you who don't know me already, my name is Eric Delsman. Today we're going to be taking a look at two very important verbs in the English language. They're very productive, which simply means that we use them quite a bit. They can be very similar in meaning, which means non-native speakers often confuse them. So, of course, I'm talking about our two friends, do and make. Before we go any further, I would like to give you some examples, some sample sentences in English with each of these verbs, and see if we can't begin to think about what kind of difference there is only based on the sentences. So, I will go through these sentences, I will say them out loud. You have time to either slow down or to stop the video so that you can write the sentences down. If not, you will also see them again later on the Moodle page in the lessons that accompany this video. So, let's start with do. Very common sentences. Did you do the shopping yesterday? I didn't do anything last week. We enjoy doing nothing on the weekends. It's time to do some more work. What should we do now? He did something really funny. Whose turn is it to do the washing up? And it's a dirty job, but somebody has to do it. Alright, so we've had a look at some simple sentences that use do in English. Now we'll take a look at some that use make. For example, you're at the hotel on holiday, you go to the receptionist and you say, "I'm sorry, but the cleaning lady forgot to make the beds." You're in a restaurant and you get the bill and there's a small problem there and you say to the waiter, "You made a small mistake on the bill." Your boss is pounding on the table because the same mistake has happened again and again. Somebody makes the same mistake over and over and over again, and he says, "We need to make some changes around here." You walk up to your office assistant and you ask her, "Could you make a copy of this letter?" You invite someone for breakfast, maybe a colleague or friends, and you can say something like, "My wife makes great pancakes." And my son, personally, loves making paper airplanes. We have paper airplanes all over the house, all over. And if you would like to learn English with me at Masters English, you can give me a call and you can say, "I'd like to make an appointment for a placement test." And at this point, I would like to move on to the next phase. I would like us to look at those sentences and to try and come up with guidelines. See if we can't come up with an idea of when we use do and when we use make. And quite honestly, these two do not necessarily follow rules. These are guidelines, these are principles, things that will help you understand why a native speaker does it this way and why a native speaker does it the other way. But certainly not rules. So, let's start. When we talk about work and jobs, what do we use? Do we use do or do we use make? Take a look at your sample sentences and see if you can't figure it out. What sounds better? You did a good job or you made a good job? And at this point, if you say you did a good job, that sounds better, you think that is correct, well, you have done a great job, because that is the answer. And what about, what do we use? Do or make? When we talk about building or creating things. Now, do you remember the example sentence when I talked about my son? What did I say he enjoys doing? He enjoys or he loves making paper airplanes. Now, obviously this is a process of creation. He took a piece of paper and he made it into something else. So when we have a concrete object that is new at the end of a process or at the end of an activity, in the sense of build or create, we often use make. And if we're not exactly sure what the activity is, now, do we use make or do we use do when we don't know exactly what the activity is? For example, something. Something can be an activity. You know? And you could argue, but if you're going to build something, then you would ask, what are you making? And you are absolutely right. If you walk into a room and you see somebody perhaps putting together a model airplane, you could ask him, what are you making? If you see him building something. But if it's not a case where you know exactly what the activity is, then you would have to ask him, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm not doing anything. So if we don't know exactly what the activity is, we use do. Now, the last point, what do we use, do or make, with a determiner? And a determiner in this case is just a little word that you put in front of, usually it goes in front of a noun. For example, a lot of. In the sentence I have a lot of friends. A lot of is considered a determiner. Do you have any friends? Any is considered the determiner. So now we're looking at structures that have a determiner and an ing noun. For example, what sounds better? She didn't do the shopping, or she didn't make the shopping? I like she didn't do the shopping. And we did a lot of sightseeing on our last holiday, or we made a lot of sightseeing on our last holiday. Once again, I like we did a lot of sightseeing on our last holiday. So these are the general guidelines that can help you when you're trying to understand if you should use make or if you should use do. Take a look at the Moodle site. There are many, many, many more exercises that you can do to help you develop a better feel for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a list of some of the things that we can make. And we're going to list them in alphabetical order. We can make a bed, a business trip, a choice, a complaint, a deal, a decision, a forecast. We can make a loss. We can make a mess. We can make a mistake. We can make a model. We can make a noise. We can make a phone call. We can make a profit. We can make a request. We can make an apology. We can make an application. We can make an attempt. We can make an appointment. We can make an effort. We can make an enquiry. We can make an exception. We can make an excuse. We can make an improvement. We can make an offer. We can make automobiles. We can make certain. We can make changes. We can make coffee. We can make money. We can make paper airplanes, as my son does. We can make plans. We can make progress. We can make submarines. And we can make sure. Now please keep in mind, this is only a sampling of some of the most common ways that we use make. And now we're going to take a look at how we use do. Now please keep in mind, do is sort of the default. Do is used much more frequently in English than make. So, some things that we do in alphabetical order. A job. We do an exercise. We do an experiment. We can do better. We do business. We do damage. We do good. We do harm. We do our homework. We do repairs. We do research. If we're on holiday, we can do some golfing. We can do some reading. We can do some sightseeing. And we can do some swimming. When we're not on holiday, we can do some work. We can always do someone a favor. We do something for a living. We can do something for someone. We can do something to someone. We can do something with someone. We can do the accounts. We can do the bookkeeping. We can do the housework. We can do well. We can do wrong. You can do your duty. If you need more help mastering the difference between do and make, visit Masters English, www.masters-english.com, and visit our Moodle site. We're looking forward to hearing from you.